November 21st, 2017 regular meeting of the Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education is called to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with Section 3313.15 of the Ohio Revised Code. Mr. Wilson, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Briner?
Here.
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Tuttle?
Here.
Ms. Jisley?
Present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 21st, 2017 regular meeting of the Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education. Prior to this evening, each board member has received for their review and consideration the agenda and materials associated with each agenda item for the board's approval via the district's paperless Board of Education agenda system, Board Docs. The public can access the agenda through the school district's website. The agenda is available through the district's website for public viewing the Sunday prior to the board meeting. Board members have the opportunity to call the superintendent and chief financial officer for information concerning agenda items and to request, if needed, additional information. There are two places on the agenda when the board entertains comments from the community. The first hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on agenda items only. The second hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on any subject, whether it is an item on the agenda or another issue. When addressing the board, please state your name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, and please address questions to the president. This meeting is being televised on a delayed basis and will be shown on Spectrum Cable Channel 1026 in Mentor and Channel 1025 in Mentor on the Lake. This meeting is also being videotaped and will be shown on our YouTube channel, Cardinal TV, Mentor, Ohio. Please place your mobile telephones on silent mode during the meeting. Do we have a motion for approval of the minutes from the October 10th and October 30th regular and special meetings respectively?
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll?
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Jisley?
Yes. At this time, we will be glad to hear from the public regarding any agenda items. Mr. Porter, the superintendent's report and recommendations, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. I have the following recommendations listed under the consent agenda and recommend approval of items 5A1 through 5A7.
So moved. Second.
And Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Jisley?
Yes.
Thank you. Madam President and members of the board, we have a first reading on the agenda and 3 additional first readings on the addendum that was at your seat when you arrived this evening. Because this is a first reading, no vote is necessary.
Can I just thank the board for doing the revised policy 1.11 about Board of Education meetings, so no future board member was put in the position that I was put in. Thank you.
The second reading and approval of revised policies.
Madam President and members of the board, I'm recommending approval of revised policies 6.08, 6.19, 6.34, 6.50, 6.51, 7.16, 7.19, 7.27, 7.34, 9.23, and 9.42.
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Jisley?
Yes.
Thank you. Madam President and members of the board, I am recommending approval of agenda items C1 through C5, all related to human resource matters.
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Jisley?
Yes.
Thank you. I am also recommending approval of Agenda Item 5D related to Mentor classified employees.
So moved. Second.
And Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll?
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes.
Thank you. This concludes my portion of tonight's agenda.
Mr. Wilson, the Chief Financial Officer's report and recommendations, please.
We do have a board recognition. Bill, if you really want to join me, and if I could invite Pam Trevisano up, please. It is with great appreciation and a little sadness that I'm here tonight to honor Pam Trevisano. One of the things I believe makes Mentor so special are our citizens that care so passionately about our school district and its well-being. I joined the district in March of 2004 when our school district began the second fastest recovery from fiscal emergency in the state of Ohio. One of the very first board actions was to create a Citizens Financial Advisory Committee. The committee was created to assist the board in their advisory role by executing 4 charges to include reviewing forecasting assumptions and budgetary work, bring best practices from the private sector, business world, to serve as an audit committee for the Board of Education, and to periodically report on financial information to the Board of Education. The committee was composed of 4 members of the local business community with specialized knowledge in the area of school finance and accounting, 2 parents of current Mentor students, and 4 ex officio members, the board president, the board vice president, the superintendent, and myself. The community's commitment to a high-quality education was so evident in these first months of our fiscal crisis. Pam Trevisano, owner of Trevisano CPA, Inc., was appointed in March 21st of 2004 to serve on this brand-new committee. Pam has willingly shared her extensive business knowledge and experience to fulfill the committee's charge. Pam's passion for the pursuit of fiscal soundness and high-quality education was extremely beneficial to the committee, the board, and the community. Pam and her family are what makes our community and school district so very exceptional. Pam will be finishing her 13th year of service on this committee and to the Board of Education. We want to take this moment to publicly thank you for all of your service. You have truly made a difference.
Thank you.
And I have a cardinal paperweight for you to display on your desk. And thank you again for all you've done.
Thank you.
You are an exceptional member of the community.
Makes it very easy to work for somebody or volunteer for a community that we grew up in. Our children went to school here, and our children are teaching, my husband teaching, so it wasn't a phase. It was something that we needed to do, that I needed to do. So thanks for allowing me to be a part of it, and I've learned a lot. So thank you.
And just as a footnote, not only did Pam so willingly step up in a time of crisis, for a long number of years she served as the treasurer for the Citizens Levy Committee, an independent organization, and in that role has ensured that we were in compliance with regulatory filings with the Board of Elections and supported fundraising and other things to support the district. And Pam's also going to hand that responsibility over now, having, I hope, feeling very good about all you've contributed in that area also. So
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge Pat Rossitani was another member of the committee. He's unable to join us tonight. Pat joined the committee in October of 2005, the second year we were there, to replace one of the original members. At that time, Pat was vice president, corporate secretary of the then Lake National Bank, and had 2 children attending the schools. His willingness to volunteer as part of the solution to our fiscal crisis speaks volumes about him and our community. Pat brought his business experience to the committee, and over his tenure shared many best practices. Pat recently moved out of the school district and concluded 12 years of service. Again, the Board of Education Superintendent and I are very thankful to Pat for his service. He also made a difference in our community, and we have one of the coveted Cardinal people waits to present him. So, once again, thank you. There's a couple of And if you like, I can explain the next item. In accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, we are required to formally declare at the board level through resolution that we no longer have a public purpose need for equipment that we own. In this particular case, we are asking permission to auction off elementary iPads and some 8th grade iPads that have served their time in our district very effectively and are part of our sustainability program for refreshing the student devices that are deployed annually. So with the board's permission, we will advertise as required by law for a public auction, and we're hopeful, as in past years, we will be successful. Hank Hartman and his team have done a great job of gathering together the inventory and ensuring the machines are in the best possible working order to maximize their value. So we ask the board's permission to proceed.
So moved. Second. Question, Dan.
Yes.
Is that an electronic auction or is that a physical auction?
Last year, for the first time, we did a remote auction as well. We advertise as a public auction to be attended in our building, but we will accept telephone bids. And I believe the last time our successful bidder was someone that bid over the telephone.
Have we looked into some of the online auction services?
Yes, we have, and we believe right now we are getting better value through Hank's networks with some resellers that understand that our machines are in better order than most and have come and physically viewed the machines for themselves rather than just accepting our representation electronically. So we'll continue to explore that, but so far we've had multiple firms interested based on our own networking to do that.
Great, thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about the retained value of those devices thanks to the fact that students have cared for them responsibly and carefully?
Oh boy, maybe. And I may have to ask Hank that is sitting out there. I believe we're getting more than 50% of the original purchase price value, which is considerably more than we expected when we started the program. We thought perhaps 25 or 30% of original purchase price would be the best we can do. Our past auctions has brought in well in excess of half of original price. Is that, hopefully I'm
That
close?
is correct. Older iPads, of course, we have some units that are almost 10 years old. Don't return as much value, but certainly they've been well taken care of. We should return easily about $310,000, hopefully, on that auction.
And could you talk a little bit about the benefit of having a new device, like why you would retire
Absolutely.
the old one?
The new device can be currently updated with the new iOS software. The older devices no longer can be updated with that software, so it limits exactly what the iPads can function and how they work in the classrooms.
It's called planned obsolescence.
Indeed.
Mechanically, the machines that keep working, but at some point the manufacturer will obsolete them just so there's turnover.
And I think we need to call the roll. Mr. Wilson, please.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jisley?
Yes.
Next, we're asking that the Board of Education enter into an agreement with BSN Sports Limited Liability Corporation to represent Nike as the exclusive provider of teams apparel, footwear, accessories, and equipment in return for financial consideration for a term to begin January 1st, 18, when our current agreement expires, through December 31st of 2022. This agreement will cover the athletic teams, players, and coaches, and is replacing our current agreement with Under Armour.
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes. Now to Mr. Tuttle for the legislative report, please.
Thank you. So just one point I want to speak to on the legislative report that I distributed, and that's House Bill 377, sponsored by Richard Hagan of Alliance and co-sponsored by a number of people, but in addition to that, I want to name John Rogers. He has co-sponsored this bill. It's an amendment, House Bill 377, amendment to Section 331360 and 3319.07 to enact Section 3314 of the revised code with respect to age-appropriate student instruction in child sexual abuse and sexual violence prevention and in-service staff training in child sexual abuse prevention. That's a mouthful. That education is really important, I think. And it's age appropriate. They put in there for starting as young as kindergarten. But my point why I want to speak to this is not only that, but also the funding and the in-staff training, in-service staff training. I have no issues with that other than money would better be spent on having professionals come in and do that. Not saying teachers aren't professionals, but we already expect our teachers to do a great deal in educating our students, and to expect them also to expand into prevention of sexual abuse. And this, it's just an extension and broadening range of extending what they already have great responsibilities to. And the funding, this does not speak to the funding. This is another unfunded mandate. As you well know, earlier this year I spoke to the tax associated with cigarettes. So much money is going to be generated by increasing sales tax on cigarettes, but that money is not going to go to any prevention. That money could certainly fund a professional coming into every school district, full-time every school district in the state of Ohio, to work on prevention, not only on sexual abuse and everything else, but opioids. And it's just why they move towards these things is beyond me. So I offer that. Please contact our state rep, John Rogers, if you would, please, and mention that to him. How about funding this? How about getting a professional into the schools to do this? Once again, I'm not minimizing our teachers' ability to do this, but we continue to ask them to do things outside of what we're mandated to do in public education. So thank you for listening. Any comments? Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Tuttle. And back to you, Mr. Wilson, for the Chief Financial Officer's report and recommendations.
As we began recently, we have prepared a consent agenda item. I'll just quickly highlight a couple of things. Mostly the financial performance for the month and year-to-date is tracking very well to budget, no exceptions. You'll recall a few months ago we changed our investment advisors, and we are reworking our portfolio a little bit. We've increased our fixed income, which is mainly federal securities. We're starting to buy some Ohio municipal maturities, which are a newer authorized asset class. And we've had some success in also lengthening the average maturity. Right now, our average maturity is 3.3 years, and our current yield's at 2.29%. Still not the good old days, but significantly, it's been a while since we've been above 2%. So we are beginning to see, by lengthening and changing our asset mix, better performance. In the fund advances, we're asking for authority for $30,000 as an advance with an expected return in next fiscal year to food service to purchase new point-of-sale terminals that are needed to update ones that are somewhat obsolete. Again, food service has been breaking even. We've not adjusted prices in a number of years, but this is a need that we currently have and wanted to fund to ensure their maximum efficiency with the full expectation the monies will be returned to us. So with those two explanations, I would ask that the board approve agenda items 7A through 7G.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes. And at this time, any unfinished business? New business?
Yes, one thing, as we communicated to you, we've been notified that our Kurt Wolfrich, the current trustee of the Mentor Public Library, has indicated he will not ask to be reappointed to a new 7-year term beginning in January. Consistent with the Ohio Revised Code, the board has 45 days from the official effective date of the resignation, in this case December 31st, to appoint a replacement. If not, it goes to the Lake County Probate Court. The board has established a process we've used for quite a few years now for constituting a committee and screening applicants and making a recommendation to the full board. The committee consists of 2 board members, 1 library trustee. As voting members, the superintendent, myself, and the executive director of the library as ex officio non-voting members. We anticipate advertising mid-December, recognizing the holiday time may distract some interest in the opportunity to continue advertising till early January. Make a selection with a recommendation at the February board meeting within the 45-day limit. It will be one meeting that would be missed at the library trustees. We talked with the library director today and one of the trustees who did not feel that would be a problem. They wanted us to make sure as many people as possible understood the opportunity and could maybe express an interest. So tonight I'm asking if the board would designate 2 board members that will serve on this committee.
I haven't done it in a while. I'll be happy to do that.
I'm always happy to do it if there wasn't someone else who was interested. Sort of my thing. All those years I've done it.
Again, we will convene the committee after the first of the year and we'll begin the advertising process soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. At this time, a hearing of the public on any matters that are on or not on the agenda. At this time, do we have a motion to retire to executive session
Discuss the appointment of public officials.
to discuss the appointment of public officials?
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jisling?
Yes, and we do not expect to have a vote on anything after the session, just to come back to adjourn. Thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.